Chapter 1. I am Isaiah, the son of Amoz, and this is the message that I was given about Judah and Jerusalem when Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah were the kings of Judah. Justice, not sacrifices. You are no better than the leaders and people of Sodom and Gomorrah. So listen to the Lord God. Your sacrifices mean nothing to me. I am sick of your offerings of rams and choice cattle. I don't like the blood of bulls or lambs or goats. Who asked you to bring all this when you come to worship me? Stay out of my temple. Your sacrifices are worthless, and incense is disgusting. I can't stand the evil you do on your new moon festivals, or on your Sabbath, and other times of worship. I hate your new moon festivals and all others as well. They are a heavy burden I am tired of carrying. No matter how much you pray, I won't listen. You are too violent. Wash yourselves clean. I am disgusted with your filthy deeds. Stop doing wrong and learn to live right. See that justice is done. Defend widows and orphans and help those in need. An invitation from the Lord. I, the Lord, invite you to come and talk it over. Your sins are scarlet red, but they will be whiter than snow or wool. If you willingly obey me, the best crops in the land will be yours. But if you turn against me, your enemies will kill you. I, the Lord, have spoken. Amen. Right here. Whoops.
I like the prophets of the Old Testament because so many of them really put things the way they should be rather than the way they were. And it's pretty amazing how many of them actually were not for the sacrificial system that was common in both Judah and then later on in Israel. They thought that, you know, they were just copying their neighbors, having a sacrificial system, and that some people who had a lot of money would give a lot of animals to the priests where they could sacrifice them on the altar and then go back and just do all kinds of nasty, stinky little things and then start the whole system over again. Does that sound familiar? That people, you know, can do that? That money talks and that it's really not about faith, it's about money? In the movie The Godfather, some of you may have seen it, Godfather 1, I think I don't know about Godfather 2. Anyway, you see that the head of the group goes to church all the time, gives a lot of money to the church, shows they're, you know, having the young child baptized in the church, and then what does he do the rest of the week? Yeah. Killing people, right? Yeah.
Well, he doesn't, he has people.
Well, he has people do it for him. But the idea is, oh, I'm a good churchgoer. I show up to Mass every Sunday morning. Color me good, and then I can go out the rest of the week and do a bunch of harm to people. I don't think that's what Jesus had in mind. And in this particular reading by the prophet Isaiah, you find some similarities between that and Micah 6:8, don't you? About what does the Lord really want? Does he want your rams and your oil and all that stuff? No, he wants you. And especially you find in the prophets, God demands justice. And what justice really means is a society in which people are all treated fairly. No matter how much money you have, no matter who your parents might be, no matter what town you would be living in, people are treated fairly. In other words, people have respect for each other. God created each and every one of you. You're all his precious children, and so therefore you should be treated with respect. And we don't see that often, do we? Some people have a little more respect than others because they have more money. When I see compassion in action, particularly right now, it makes me think of the prophet Isaiah and how happy he would have been if he saw what was going on. In the midst of all of the anger and the bad language and all of the calling down certain people, some of you joined with me last week at the Foothill Unity Center's Back to School Day. This was held at the Santa Anita Racetrack. And they've been holding the Back to School Days for 21 years. And our church has participated in this for 21 years. And we've done backpacks most of the time. Let me tell you what makes me so happy about this. These are all young people who come there that have very limited incomes because of their family. If they didn't have something like this, they would be going to school with radio, backpacks, probably not all of the school supplies that they needed. And you know how kids are, don't you? When you were a kid, remember how the school bully would make fun of you? And they'd kind of like, ew, where did you get that? They would criticize your clothing, your shoes, your supplies, and particularly your backpack, because it wasn't up to their standards. And they've been doing this for so many years now, the Foothill Unity Center. And it's so neat to see the kids come through. The kids can get haircuts by students from the Citrus College cosmetology department. The girls can get their nails done. Can you imagine how spiffy you would feel when you're going back to school? And what really makes me thrilled is especially the college students. They've added college students, that some of the children have gone through the program and they've made it to college, whereas in a generation before it was not even heard of. Let me tell you what I've met. It tells their name and it tells where they are in school. I had a girl come up to my backpack booth there, and it said third-year college student. I said, oh, where are you going? And she says, I'm at Humboldt State. I thought, wow, that is so neat. And then I had several, again, third, even fourth-year college students who've gone through this program, whose parents have no money at all, really. And, oh, I go to Cal Poly Pomona, or I go to Cal State LA. The shocker of them all, it said third-year students. It was a young woman. I said, where are you going to school? She said, Cal Tech. See, there's money there. You know, if you really don't have any and you're a promising student, there's money there. I mean, it just made me feel so good that helping people out when they're younger and getting them ready for school with all the supplies they need, even uniforms for the younger kids, regular clothes for the older ones, shoe vouchers, underwear, socks, everything, that it makes them feel that they are something, that they have worth. And it's too bad that some of the other kids like to want to put them down, but they're not going to do that, because these kids are really coming back to school looking really, really good. It makes me feel so good. Another example, compassion in action. This is not a political speech, okay? I have a friend of mine who's a Levitical priest, and he was quoted actually with scripture when he was talking about helping the widows and the orphans and feeding the needy and stuff like that. And this one woman in the congregation says, I'm tired of your political speeches in church. And he said, that wasn't political, that was scriptural. Some people don't even know what's there in the Bible. As you know, this last week, a lot of adults got rounded up in Mississippi. These were adults that worked at a chicken or poultry processing plant. That's a polite language. They are the ones that kill the chicken, take off the feathers, gut it, you know, all that lovely stuff. Anybody want that job? No. There's a lot of jobs available, by the way. Probably about $7.50 an hour or something like that. It's a little cheaper there. Anybody want that kind of a job? I don't have any takers. Well, anyway, what happened is that these adults worked at this processing plant, and they were all rounded up by ICE because the claim was that they were undocumented. Except there's a problem. Most of them have children. What's going to happen to the children? The children were in their first day of school. And so with all these parents being rounded up, where were the kids going to go? And you can have any opinion you want about undocumented people, but what about the kids? A lot of them were born here. The thing is, they didn't have any home to go to because their mom and dad were rounded up and put in some kind of detention place. A man who owned a gym heard about what was going on. He called the school and told them to take the kids to his gym. But then the kids are going to get hungry, right? So he called some of his friends. They brought in food and something for the kids to sleep on, and they had them in this gym, and it was a fairly large place, and he just did this because he knew that there was a need. That's what makes me feel good, that there is compassion without judgment. It's not a 7-year-old child's fault that mom or dad didn't come here with papers, okay? It's not their fault. But again, they exist. And what's going to happen? whoever this man that owns the gym, whether he is a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, I don't care what he is, whatever he's doing, he's really following in the footsteps of Isaiah and Jesus, because Jesus asked us to be a compassionate people. The last story I wanted to tell you about is something that happened in my life. Way back when my children were in, my youngest son was in middle school. I lived in a condo complex. I was renting a condo. And there was a woman in that complex who, for politer words, she was a call girl. And she would come at night. She always had somebody watch her son. She was a very dedicated mother as far as her son never ever stayed home alone. And she always had somebody stay overnight with her boy. And this big black limo would come by. It was like a stretch limo. Would come by and pick her up, and she was all decked out and things like that. And there were a lot of the mothers in particular that were very judgmental about her. Oh, I am not going to have my child associate with a prostitute. You know, we're better than that. Well, guess what? She was one that never left her son home alone. Always helped him with his homework when he came home from school. She would also watch other kids after school whose parents worked. They came over, she'd often pop popcorn, and they'd do their homework together. And I would say she was a good mom. Her son was important to her. Now, she had the looks in the body of somebody could be probably an actress, but maybe she was over the hill for that. And she was a call girl. But there are a lot of folks that would say, oh, I'm a good Christian. I don't associate with people like that. How many of you remember who were the people that Jesus really had a hard time with? Were they the people that were the prostitutes? No. Or the other kinds of sins? No. Remember, who were they?
The Pharisees.
The Pharisees. And unfortunately, the Pharisees are alive and well in the year 2019. Unfortunately, Christianity and Judaism and Islam have a lot of Pharisees, and there's a lot of up the nose to all sorts of people. We don't want to associate with them. But remember the story in the King James, they refer to it as the prodigal son. The reason that Jesus told this story is because the Pharisees were going, does he know who he's associating with? Do you know what kind of people are over here that are listening to him? He can't be a prophet. He can't be a religious leader. He associates with people that just really are unacceptable. We are the good people. We are the pure people and righteous, and we don't associate with them. Well, guess what? Jesus wanted to change people's lives and have them feel good about themselves and to live in such a way that they lived in harmony with each other. That's what he was concerned about. So he didn't care what you did for a living. He didn't care what you had done 5 years ago. What was important to him is that he wanted to share the good news with you. And that's what he did. And so when we think about Isaiah's writing today, it's sort of in that same, what they call prophetic tradition. I don't care about your rams and all your sacrifices and even blood offering. I don't care about that. I want you to live a life where you care about each other, where there's some compassion, where you see that there's someone with a need and you try to fulfill it. That's what I want. That's what I'm the God of a people that are compassionate. And so, with the Foothill Unity Center continuing its work and helping people that are less privileged, and all the other folks out there that said, I don't care about the issues, I care about a need. And when I see a hungry child, I will feed that child. I don't care who his or her parents were. That child is hungry, and I will feed them. That's what God wants. That's what's important. And hopefully that's what our faith is truly about. Amen.
Amen.